Don't be closed-minded. Don't look at an opportunity and say, oh my gosh, I can never do that. That was me. That was me for from in high school and into college. I would shut myself off and say, oh my gosh, I can't do that. I just lack confidence. Have confidence and keep an open mind, because you never know what's going to fall into your lap. And if it falls into your lap and after 2 years you're not happy, get out. Don't stick with something because you're going to just stick with it.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Path Found, the podcast about the real, messy, unexpected journeys that lead us to the work we love. I'm Monica Argandonia, and every week I talk with someone whose story proves there's no single right way to build a meaningful life. My guest today is someone I actually went to elementary school with, though today marks the first time we've seen each other in 16 years. And catching up with him made me realize how much you can learn about a person from the path they chose and the ones they didn't. William Combs will tell you he was never a great student. Sports were his world, and business was something of a fallback. But here's what's interesting. Looking back now, he thinks he might have thrived as a detective or working for the FBI. That curiosity, that instinct for reading people and situations, it was always there. He just didn't get a chance to explore it. But what he did know is he wanted to be his own boss. And once he set his sights on that, he stuck with it. Through a first year that hit harder than he expected, through the slow grind of learning the numbers and legalities, through all the growing pains that nobody warns you about. He didn't quit when it got hard, and he didn't let success push him into overextending either. And that passion for sports that followed him his whole life, he found a way to keep it out on the field doing what he loves several times a week. William's story is one of staying the course, knowing your limits, and building a life that actually fits you. Let's get started. William, I am so happy to have you here with me today. I will give a little bit of background. We have known each other for a very long time, though I haven't seen you in 16 years.
Yep, that's correct.
Went to elementary school together.
We did.
So I already know a little bit about what you were like in school and growing up, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Sure.
What were you like as a kid?
I would say my energy was a little bit out of control for the most part, into sports and not much into school, but had to work hard to get by in school. I think I had a pretty outgoing personality and people liked me even though I irritated them from time to time. I think that's how that would sum me up.
Were you a good student?
I worked hard to be a B student.
Okay.
It didn't come easy and I was a little lazy and a little procrastinating, but I did make it through to probably a solid B student. So yeah.
So then what happens in high school?
So high school, same thing. I didn't apply myself. Just in sports, playing sports was where my life revolved. And so as a high school, I went into high school and had some challenges with just getting projects turned in or assignments or studying correctly. And so I was always behind the curve and made it through. I didn't challenge myself enough and I just settled. I settled for just the average grades, unfortunately.
Did you know what you wanted to do? Was college
Definitely going to college. Yeah, that was a path that was 100% ingrained in us. And so, but as I was in high school, I thought my friends were going to Berkeley or UCLA or Georgetown. I'm thinking, I'm not going to any of these schools. So my path started at Pasadena City College after high school. I had to go there for a year because I didn't apply myself in high school. And that's okay. So I did Pasadena City College for a year before transferring out to Cal Poly Pomona.
What'd you major in?
The hotel restaurant management program at Cal Poly Pomona was my major. In my head, I always thought I could be my own boss. I can have a business, but that wasn't 19 years old. That's not going to happen. And so I was in the restaurant business as a bartender and server. And so going into school, I thought it's going to give me some real good business foundation, but then with a focus in the restaurant and hotel. But I mean, the hotel industry wasn't going to be my direction. It was going to be restaurants. And that's why I chose that as a major.
So you liked the major then?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. The program there is top notch from, when we look around, like UNLV has a really great program and then you go across the country. But for California, Cal Poly Pomona has a really excellent reputation for their hotel restaurant management program. The faculty was great. Definitely found my path. You get in a group for 2 years and you stay with those students. And it was just an amazing, learning about what their goals were and what they were at school about. And I had a very good experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what did you do after?
So as I graduated, I went into Islands, a restaurant as management. And that was my first real job after college. I'd been working at Islands, and then I went right into the management program. And, they assigned me at different stores. I worked my way up from assistant manager to assistant general manager. And I went from probably 7 or 8 stores throughout Southern California in the Islands family. Yeah.
Did you like it?
I liked it a lot at the beginning. I did not like it as about a year into it. The employees had their own agenda. The hours were really difficult because you weren't on a set. It wasn't okay, you have an 8-hour shift. Some days was 9, 10, 11 hours. And then you had to go in on some days when the manager would call out so no, after a while I said, this is not, I like the day-to-day, the busyness, the kitchen, the customers. I like that part. But when it was time to sit down and say, am I happy? I wasn't happy. And that was about easily after about a year and a half, I started realizing, no, I need to find something else.
So what did you do?
So then I started looking for a job, and then I went into working for Jamba Juice. Jamba Juice was opening restaurants, and they were going to open a store in Brea. And that's what I was hired for, as the general manager of the store in Brea, and opened a brand new store. And that was exciting. Starting from the ground up, and my enthusiasm level just took off in that role, and had a great time. Ended up at a couple other locations and really had a lot of flexibility. The good people, they were based out of San Francisco, so I had business trips up to San Francisco, which I had never experienced before. Had a really solid experience with Jamba Juice. Then that started to slowly wane, because at a point I always knew, okay, after working for 2 different companies, I want to be my own boss. What direction can I do to become my own boss as a business owner? And so that's where my mindset started to go.
How long were you at Jamba Juice?
I was at Jamba Juice for over 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so over 3 years. And that took me into the early 2000s, maybe 2001. Yeah.
So you're thinking your own business.
Yep.
How are you thinking, I'm going to open my own restaurant, or?
That was always on the back of my mind. How can I, what kind of food, where's the location? Am I going to stay, local? How much money do I need to get started? All that had to play into it. And as I was always thinking about that, I started looking for a new job. And then the new job took me to Subway, which is the development agent in Los Angeles County. So that job basically turned in as a business consultant. You become a business consultant, and then you go out and start working with owners who have their stores, making sure that you support them in what they need, but also the standards that Subway has. You have to make sure that the stores are running with those standards, from food to the decor to all the equipment. Everything has to be consistent. And so that's where it comes into. A business consultant was a little bit of there wasn't a lot of like, okay, let's sit down and what can we do to really increase your sales or try to have local marketing. There was, but a lot of owners, they had a lot of pushback because they some struggle with the finances from month to month, and they just want to focus on, well, I just want to focus on within the store, within the 4 walls right now. And I say, oh, well, we look at different, advertising at schools and whatnot locally. But so that as I was talking to them, wait a minute, I can do this, what they're doing. I have my ideas. And so I was thinking, I wish I was sitting on that other side of the table. And so that really pushed me towards, no, I can do this. And after about 2.5 years, then I transitioned from business consultant. I interviewed for the franchise with the people I worked with, my supervisor, my bosses, and I was approved. And then I just basically transitioned from business consultant into the franchisee and found a store to buy and purchased a store. And then that started me off.
So how does that work as a franchise? You have to get approved?
You have to get approved. Yeah. So they want to know your finances. It's very affordable, but you still need to have money in the bank. That was one thing. They're not going to let you, go on credit. You have to show a little financial stability, and then they interview you and you have your business plan. I put together a business plan of just things that involved, I didn't have the store location yet. So I just had to be general with, this is what I'm going to do with the local schools, with the market. There's hospitals that I can work with, catering, and you just put that kind of things in there, and I hope that it worked out, and it did.
And so then once they approve you, you then still have to find an already built store to buy?
You have 2 options.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like buying a house. Do you want to buy an existing house? Okay. What city is it? I mean, okay, I don't know. This house is for sale, or do I want to build a brand new store from the ground up? So when you buy an existing store, there's history, there's sales, there's trend, and you get a 3-year plan. You can say, here's the sales for 3 years. You know exactly what you're getting into because those are the raw numbers. When you build a new store, there's a lot of risk. It's a lot less expensive to build a new store.
Okay.
Because when you buy a new store, the owner is selling his sales. He's saying, here's what our sales are every year, and I'm going to set my price based on my sales that you're going to pay. So it could be, sometimes it could be $150,000 or $200,000 difference of buying a new store. Buying an existing store, or building a new store. But after talking to a couple franchisees that I had consulted with, they said, I think it's better for you to buy an existing store. That was their advice. And I went, because some of them, the owners had been there, 8, 10, 15 years. I trusted them.
Was it Subway just because that was there in front of you and you had worked as a consultant, or did you even consider?
I didn't consider anything else. It was right in front of me. I had a comfort to what I was doing. It was affordable too. There are other franchisees that you can get into that are a lot more expensive. So that was a very affordable entry price. And I wanted to do restaurants as opposed to, there's other franchises that you can get into, but I wasn't comfortable with that. And so I didn't look at any other franchise. I just said, this is what I want to do. And I'm comfortable. And with that comfort and that experience I had for the couple of years, I went for it.
And so when was this first purchase?
First purchase was 2004.
So you were 34. So 34, you are now a business owner.
Correct.
One Subway.
Correct.
And how did that go? So
it was not as smooth for the first year as I thought it was going to be. I thought I didn't have an ego, or I wasn't coming in there with this huge, I'm going to do it. This is going to be successful. I think what I tried to do was just have a even balance of expectations and confidence. As the costs come in every week and every month, tax permits and sales tax and just your electric bill every month, and then payroll. And then you're looking at the food you're bringing in, and then you get bills from LA County, just, waste and disposable. All this stuff started coming. I wasn't really, that was where I was naive. I didn't expect that. And I just thought, look, we're going to give really good service, have a good staff, and customers are going to start to get, and they're going to like that. Well, I hit the ground too hard. I should have slowed down a little bit because I increased the amount of people that were working on a shift. And all of a sudden, after a couple, I'm like, boy, that's on my labor. The dollars are going to that, and the sales aren't coming in. Those were my growing pains early on. Yes.
So even as a consultant,
I didn't see that. I saw, you hear some of these stores, oh, these are great sales and should be easy to cover all these expenses and still, make a really nice profit. But that wasn't the case because the store I actually bought was a lower volume store, but I got a good price. So my goal was, okay, now I'm going to take that and increase the sales. So
how long did it take you to figure all that out?
So it was about into the second year when I really became comfortable with the finances, really had a month-to-month P&L in front of me. So profit and loss. So I could say, okay, where can I be better? And because of that, about a year and a half, I said, boy, this is turning. It turned the corner. I could see the profits increasing. I could see the sales increasing, but just sales increasing doesn't mean profits increasing. Sales increasing, now you have your expenses increase with all the purchases you still have to do. But I was able to figure out where I needed to focus on, and that's where it turned about a year and a half.
How many hours a week are you working?
So at that time, I was in the restaurants probably 35 to 45 hours a week. There were times I found out that my day staff was usually stronger than my night staff. So, and I wasn't going to be there from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. So I started transitioning my routine more into the evening. So I'd be there more in the evening because some of the staff struggled and it was slower. And so it was just a different component that I had to realize because my day crew, it was busy and they were fine. And I tried not to micromanage. I tried to just step back and let them, there's always expectations. There's always standards that I would put in place. And that's what I liked. I could say, okay, here's the standard with, at this time of the day when customers are here, this is what we're going to be doing. This is the focus. And I liked doing that and implementing it and letting them go with it. And then every couple of weeks, I'd have to remind them. Remember we talked about this 3 weeks ago? And I know that's one of the biggest hurdles is it's a lot of reminders. You think, okay, I'm going to say it 2 or 3 times. This is the standard for just basic customer service. And, but why are you not? We just talked about this 3 weeks ago. How have you forgotten? Just little things. But I have to let certain things go. You're gonna implode if you got to just let things go. That's what I learned. So about year 3 or 4, and that's where I was feeling very confident.
You still have that store?
I still have that store. Yeah.
So that's what you're doing.
That's what I'm doing.
It's the only one?
The only one.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. At one point, I was with a friend, and we were deciding on expanding together, moving up to 2 or 3 stores. He had one store, I had a store. We started to merge our businesses together. So we were working together for a while because our goal was to get to a 3rd store. It's very difficult when you have more than one. It almost becomes 2 full-time jobs,
Okay.
then 3 full-time jobs. A lot of the franchisees and Subway that are successful, it's family run. So you have, brother and father, you have, the kids, and that really helps. But like one person, it's very difficult. You get done with one store, and then all of a sudden you have a whole nother store. So as we were deciding that, we said, what, we're going to stick with just our own stores. And that was fine. And I was, because I didn't want my job, I didn't want this to be my entire life. I wanted flexibility. I wanted balance, and with family and the kids and sports and all their activities, that's how I was able to find balance.
So you picked up major right off the bat.
Right.
And you stuck with it.
I stuck with it. The fact that it had a lot of business, if I didn't go into the hotel restaurant management program for my major, I would have gone into, just business management. That's where I felt comfortable with. That's where, I wasn't into, I wasn't engineering or that line of a career, but business, I could get my hands around. So I stuck with it.
Do you look back and think you wished you had done something else? You maybe not Subway, maybe a different.
Oh, I have reflections. Yeah. Like back in high school, I do that. And I say, if I had really applied myself, when you think about goals and think, what would I have liked to do? I would have liked to gone into more of the criminal world of like the FBI or a detective. Back then it wasn't even on my radar. I was just trying to figure out what I was going to, and then business was a fallback. When I have reflection, I go, boy, that would have been an interesting career if I'd gone that way, but I never thought about it back then.
Right.
So it's irrelevant, but.
So you're going to keep this Subway indefinitely?
Yeah. Just until,
it's still doing well.
Doing well. Yeah. It's, the economy is, things have changed drastically in the, several years, from COVID to the minimum wage increase to costs of everything. Everything goes up. And I don't have illusions of grandeur. I don't say, oh, we need to hit these sales every week. What are we going to do? And just push. I just go at a slow pace. I realize there's going to be ebb and flow. The November, December months of the business are always comes really back to almost breaking even from week to week.
Really?
Those are the slow months. People's lives change in November and December, and the weather. I manage those months. And then once we break into the middle of January, people's routines go back to normal. And that's where it goes with. But yeah, that's one store. I have no plans on selling or moving on.
So if you were giving advice to a young person thinking, hey, this is an industry I want to get into, maybe I want to be a franchisee owner, or there's certain things that you did along the way that you think helped, what would you tell people today?
One of the things that really helped me was I listened to a lot of different people who had more experience than me as I went through my early journey of being a business consultant, and the experience of people and listening to them, the good and the bad. And so that's what the cliche is, you become a sponge. And I did. I just wanted to know. One of the things I was like, how did you pick your location? So who knows where I would have ended up. If I didn't listen to them, maybe I would have said, oh, there's a great store, out in Glendale. Well, that would have been feasible for me, living down in Orange County. So, I might have made that big mistake. I don't know, but I listened to the more experienced franchisees, and I didn't rush into decisions.
Did you do internships?
I didn't know. I did not do any internships.
That wasn't part of the college program, huh?
There was the program, you work the restaurant. They have a restaurant at Cal Poly, and you work that for a quarter. So yes, that I guess was an internship as you said, but it was very quick. We ran the restaurant for a quarter, my group, and the back of the house, the front of the house, the kitchen, the dining room, all the reservations, and of course the accounting. We would go through all of that. But it was a very short internship and it was fine, but that was my only really internship experience.
What do you like best about it?
Well, I like the flexibility. I like being able to own a business. It's 7 days a week. It's open 15 hours a day. That can be very stressful. That can be very trying, but I've learned to, like I said, not micromanage. And so because of that, I'm able to have a very flexible life and give myself the chance to not be overwhelmed by the business, because I've seen some franchisees who are, they think, well, I'm just going to be at the store all the time and save on that labor. And I've learned health-wise, I think mentally you're going to break down and stress. And so I never wanted to do that path. I didn't want to, wasn't going to be there 10, 12 hours a day. And so that was a decision I made that was beneficial to me. I stand by that even today. I think it was the right choice.
What do you like least about it?
Well, I think you have employees that are, this is a means to an end, is, paying their cell phone bill. Sometimes even, some employees they're paying rent, but it's frustrating because I don't need them to obviously have a ownership idea, but I just want them to be a little bit more reliable and mature. And that's where my expectations were too high. So every year I would have to lower my expectations on my employees, because when you find a couple good employees, it's great. They're enthusiastic, they get it. But then you get, sometimes you have employees that are just punching the clock and trying to get out of there. So that is one element that really is stressful. You give you a phone call 10 minutes before their shift, I'm not coming. That's where the stress comes in, because at Subway, you don't have 5, 6, 7 people at certain stores working a shift. So you can't absorb a person not coming. I mean, sometimes it's just two people. So that's the one part that I've found that is very challenging and very stressful. I get in months where it's a good crew, and that really is inspiring and motivating to me. Like, oh, this is great. But then when that flips and somebody, you have to replace people, and then you hope, oh my goodness, hiring can be very challenging to find a person that can come in and get it and care. And besides all the city and, the bills that come in every month from you just get these tax fees, and you get these, I mean, it really can be that can be deflating too. So those are the two, I would say.
Will you retire?
There's part of me, it says I'm semi-retired right now. I'm semi-retired. I picked up a hobby to keep me busy, because when I'm at the restaurant, it's it's not a big, we're not cooking in the back, and so it's not a lot for me to do. And so and then I don't want to step on my supervisor's toes. So I get out of their way. So I find myself with a decent amount of free time. So I've picked up a hobby. So with that hobby and with being, I guess, semi-retired, will I retire? Retiring means I'd sell the store. That would be retiring. I would sell the store, and then that would be it. But I mean, I'm always involved 7 days a week, but I'm not in the restaurant for hours and hours every day. So that's where I'm going to kind of put myself as a semi-retired.
What's the hobby?
Sports officiating. I do from high school all the way down to kids and 6, 7, 8-year-old kids in baseball, football, and basketball. So some weeks I do 3 games in a week. Some weeks I do more. The high school seasons, so in the spring or in the fall, I'll do football, flag football, and then boys tackle football. And then we get in the winter, it's high school basketball. And in the spring, I do baseball. So I'm a baseball referee and an umpire.
So still doing sports.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love being out there. And that really takes me, it gives me an hour and a half or 2 hours of just my passion is I've loved sports since I was a little kid. And so to be able to do this and give a really good effort, because as I was coaching my kids throughout the years, see some umpires that were just lazy and they didn't care. So that's my hobby. And it's not a lot of games a week. In the fall, it will be. There's a lot of football. They're always short referees. They're always getting phone calls. Hey, can you go do this? No, I have to, say, no, I'm not available. I can't, because I'm not going to go all day with it. But that's my hobby.
But that's great.
Yeah, I love it. I do love it. Yeah.
So looking back, knowing what you know now, what would you go back and tell your 20-year-old self?
I would have probably skipped Islands. I would have probably skipped that And there was some opportunity at college from job fairs. I didn't go to many of the job fairs. I should have gone to the job fairs. So I didn't give myself an opportunity to say, oh, I never even thought I could work for this company. So if I could go back, that would have been definitely, so I would have said, you need to go to the job fairs. You need to see what else is out there and don't be so blinded by, okay, I've been working at this company, this restaurant, and I'm going to go right in to the management. And that was a bad decision because I didn't give myself an opportunity to see other options. I wish I would have, because I just looked at those job fairs and I said, I'm already set. I know what I'm doing. But I think I would have liked to see what else was out there.
So going off of that, then, what would you tell a college student today in any field?
Yeah, in any field. Well, number one, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's hard. It's very hard to know where your path is. But I would definitely tell them, don't be closed-minded. Don't look at an opportunity and say, oh my gosh, I can never do that. That was me. That was me for from in high school and into college. I would shut myself off and say, oh my gosh, I can't do that. I just lack confidence. So I would tell them, have confidence and keep an open mind, because you never know what's going to fall into your lap. And if it falls into your lap and after 2 years you're not happy, get out. Don't stick with something because you're going to just stick with it. That would be my advice.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, William, thank you so much.
You're welcome,
I
Monica.
appreciate your sharing your story.
Well, I'm glad you thought of me, and I'm glad that I was able to share my story.
Thank you so much for listening to Path Found. If anything we talked about today connected with you or gave you a new perspective, we'd love it if you subscribed, left a review, or shared the episode with someone you care about. You can also find us on Instagram at Path Found Podcast. To explore more stories, resources, and ways to get involved, visit KeystoneNetwork.org. This podcast is just one part of the journey. At Keystone Network, we're helping young people and anyone figuring it out as they go build meaningful futures one step at a time. A huge thank you to my podcast editor, David Strutt. You can find him on LinkedIn for helping bring these stories to life, and to Elizabeth Miner at Silvermine Creative for the beautiful artwork and web design. And if you're on your own path, navigating the unknown, making a pivot, or simply figuring it out as you go, just know you're not alone. The route may not be linear, but there's always a way forward. I'm Monica Argandonia, and I'll see you next time on Path Found.